Welcome to Cartoon Canon Creations, Episode 3. The story so far. 4 friends lived in the carefree world of cartoon canon creation, where all they needed to do to be safe was listen to the advice of a square in the sky. They didn't. As a result, they ended up going to a very different world. There, they met a lamb. And the lamb told them that they had 4 riddles to solve if they wanted to go back home. Last week, when we left our friends, they'd solved 2 riddles, and Nathan had found the final riddle, but when he went to get it, he got swallowed by a scary-looking plant. Sally and Owen looked at the plant closed, and they'd seen poor old Nathan go inside. They didn't know what to do to help. And as they watched, suddenly there was 3 loud sounds and lights came out of the sides of the plant. And then it opened up and Nathan came out very, very quickly and he ran towards them. How did that happen? Sally, I have no idea, said Nathan. I just worked out that when I'm scared, I can actually shoot this plasma stuff out of my mouth. It's so cool. And thankfully, that got me out of the plant. They read the next riddle, where birds do land and children fall in the sand, where the view is grand, you will complete your band. So they looked around where they were, they could see no sand. And though they could see birds landing in trees, there was certainly no view that was grand. So Sally hit the clicker. They came to a beach. There they could see the sand and Owen thought this could be it. But as they looked, the view, it was beautiful, but it wasn't really grand. And they couldn't really see birds, or at least not a lot of birds, landing in the trees. A lizard snuck up behind them and tried to take a bite of them. Nathan saw it coming, and at the last minute he shot 3 plasma shots at it. The lizard retreated. Sally quickly hit the clicker again, and they came to a beautiful park. Nathan turned around and he saw kids playing on play structures and laughing. And in front of them they could see a really huge tree. Sally scampered up the tree to see if she could find anything there. When she got to its highest branches, it was an amazing view. And there she also saw an egg. The egg opened up and it was Erwin, and he had the final clue with him. She went and gave him a big hug, and they went down the tree and they read the final clue. Where you entered, you must leave, but a debt must be received. They knew where they had to go. So Sally, hopefully for the last time, hit the clicker, and they arrived right where it had all started, and right in front of them was the mud. But the mud wasn't swirling. Owen went into it anyhow, and he just got covered in mud. Nathan went in and he got covered in mud, and they thought, what's going on? The lamb turned up, and Sally looked at the lamb and she demanded answers. She said, we followed all the rules. We did what we were told, how we were told, and when we were told. Why can't we get out? The lamb looked at them, and the lamb said, well, unfortunately, following rules can't make up for breaking them. A debt still has to be received before you can return home. Owen said, but we all broke the rule. How can we possibly get home? What can we do? Are we stuck here forever? Erwin retreated back in his egg, and the lamb said, no. There is one way that you can get back to your world, and that is if someone pays the debt for you. Who? It would have to be someone that's done nothing wrong. The lamb started walking into the mud. No, you can't go. You can't go, said Sally. If you go to our world, you'll get crushed. You can't live there. The lamb stood in the mud, and he began to spin faster and faster and faster and faster. And then he disappeared, and the mud was still spinning. Sadly, Nathan, Erwin, Sally and Owen stepped into the mud. As they stepped into the mud, they came out at cartoon canon creation. They looked in the sky and there was the square and it was blue. They went home, they went to sleep. The next day they decided to look for the lamb. They spent 3 days looking for the lamb and they couldn't find him anywhere. Then finally on the third day they looked up in the air and the square in the sky turned white. And out of that white came the face of the lamb. And the lamb said to them, "It was good to meet you guys. Can I encourage you to please go around all of cartoon canon creation and tell everyone that the square in the sky doesn't want to hurt them. He's not wanting to give them rules. He's actually trying to look after them. And if they listen to him, they will have a happy life." And the face in the square disappeared. The friends looked at each other and they said, "We're going to tell everyone about how good the square is and how good its friend, the lamb, is." Hey, I hope you really enjoyed cartoon canon creation. It was a lot of fun to make, and thank you for the pictures for doing it. But there's just a few things I want to talk to you about. If you remember, the friends in the video, they had no idea in their world that the square in the sky actually had 8 sides and was one thing, and they couldn't understand it. Well, sometimes God's like that. We can't understand why things happen. We can't understand why for so long we're away from school because of this virus. We can't understand why God allows bad things to happen. But God loves you. And that's one thing I want to really encourage you. God loves you so much. And He only wants the best for you, even though life sometimes gets hard. And that's where the lamb comes in. Our cute little lamb. See, if you remember in the story, the friends, they had to admit that they'd done something wrong by not listening to the square in the sky in their world. They had to believe that what the lamb was going to do by walking into the mud was going to help them. And then they had to commit to it by walking in the mud themselves. If you don't understand the good things that God has in plan for you, can I encourage you to admit that you've done things wrong, just like the friends did. Admit that maybe you haven't listened to your parents, maybe you've fought with your brother or sister, maybe you've had an extra cookie. Admit that you've done something wrong. Then believe what Jesus did on the cross can forgive you for all those mistakes. And then commit your life to Jesus. And when you do that, you will know just how wonderful, how awesome God really is through His Son Jesus. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.